Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to Hatha Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. You'll need a blanket or beach towel or 2 yoga blocks to start. Let's begin lying down in a supported back bend, gently lifting the chest. So if you have a blanket, you could open it up to about this wide and then roll it into a firm, smooth, cylindrical pillow so that it lands across the back of your mat, in which you can lie back and land the area that's right underneath your shoulder blades. And then your shoulders can roll off the backside. If you have 2 blocks, you want a more sensation in this back bend, you can place 1 block at the tallest height at the rearmost edge of your mat, and then the second block on the medium height, crossing your mat. Lie back. Again, the pelvis remains on the ground, and the area right beneath your shoulder blades lands on top of that lower block, and the skull lands on the taller block. And then here you'll want to feel a similar effect of opening and broadening and lifting the chest. Shoulders are softening down towards the ground and away from the neck. And then by turning your palms to face up, you can accentuate opening the fronts of the shoulders, letting the backs of your hands land on the ground. You can decide if you want to make sort of a cactus shape out of your arms, bending the elbows wide to the sides, or just letting the arms rest diagonally down out to your sides. Now with your legs, I invite you to bend your knees, separate your feet on the ground a little wider than hips distance, and then drop your knees together so that they touch, allowing a little widening across your sacrum, a little stretch across your lower back. Let's begin here, arriving in stillness, making a conscious transition from whatever your day has been, whatever you just got out of to get here, to your practice of uniting. Yoga means union. Your breath, your body, your mind, your inner being, and your outer being. Beginning to tune inward. Feeling your own body breathe. Feeling your own mind settle its attention on your body and breath. This whole week we've been exploring tapas, discipline, fire of purification, the 3rd niyama within the 2nd of 8 limbs of yoga. And I've been quoting from Summer Cushman's writings all throughout the week, and here's a bit more. She says, yoga is a practice of uncovering. It's about surfacing the conditioning that has separated us from the reality of who we are. The truth of our being is vital wholeness. But over the course of our lives, we've, as humans surviving in this world, built habits that can drain our vitality at times. Protective mechanisms, coping, defenses. And so tapas plays into this as a practice, not an easy practice, but a practice of diligence to revitalize ourselves. One of her teachers, Pandit Rajmani, says that the literal meaning of tapas is shining heat. Tapas is the radiance of the life force. It makes us radiant and vibrant. Tapas is inner fire. It incinerates the impurities blocking the flow of our intuition. We're not here to torture ourselves. In fact, the Bhagavad Gita, one of the ancient scriptures we cite in yoga, is very clear that tapas is not about self-torture. We're not here to add to our mental affliction by shaming ourselves, not doing what we should or shouldn't do, but we're also not here to keep our heads in the sand. We have to be honest with ourselves about the habits that cause us pain and dis-ease. We have to be honest about the habits that keep us stuck and drain our vitality. What are the tactics that I might use to avoid dealing with hard things, not addressing uncomfortable emotions, for example? What are the tactics we might use to avoid feeling any discomfort due to change, perhaps? Another author, Donna Farrell, writes, these avoidance tactics may temporarily placate our senses, but they create a deep form of unhappiness. Are you familiar with the idea that we can become comfortable with our unhappiness just because it's our norm? So on some level, we know we're not being true to ourselves or our potential. Discipline is having enough respect for yourself to make choices that truly nourish your well-being and provide opportunities for expansive growth. Far from being a kind of medicinal punishment, tapas allows us to direct our energy toward a fulfilled life of meaning. And that's exciting. That is pleasurable. I invite you to take a deep inhalation, fill up, and then create any sound through the mouth, let it go. Again, this time as you breathe and fill up the backs of your lungs, let your rib cage expand a bit more, feel across the shoulder blades with a breath. And then again, a deep sound through the mouth, let it go. Ha. Through the front body, inhale, fill up your belly, down to your pelvic floor, fill up your chest, the front ribs, and sigh it out through the mouth. So the practice of tapas is learning to stay in the discomfort without succumbing to it. If you can learn to stay in it until it passes or changes, if you can stay in the heat of tapas and learn to harness it, you will be able to transform any negative habit. The practice of tapas turns up the dial of our attention. It forces us to stay present with the discomfort of choosing not to act on behalf of our ego, attachments, aversions, and fears. So I invite you to start to turn over to one side so that you can remove whatever prop is underneath your body and lie down flat on your back. You may want to grab a strap for this next one. Now, as you're lying completely on the ground, bend your right knee into your chest. And then extend your right leg up towards the sky. You're not trying to bring it towards your face. You're just trying to keep it like a vertical line perpendicular to the floor. Now scoot your pelvis about 3 more inches closer to the right edge of your mat. Slide your right arm wide to the right so your shoulder is grounded. And here, if you're not able to reach your left hand to your outer right ankle or maybe the lower portion of the outer calf or even your foot, that's where you might want to use a strap as an extension of your hand and loop the strap around the ball of your foot instead. And then from here, sickle your right foot, turn the sole to face your left wall, turning from the ankle. Look over your right shoulder, make sure that shoulder stays on the ground, and then begin to cross your right straight leg over your body to the left, moving gently into a supine spinal twist. Deep breath in, long exhale, whisper it out through the mouth. Now can you again inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. We're going to stay a little longer now. See if you might be able to bend your left knee, bring your left heel closer to your glutes, and see if you can catch hold of the top of your left foot with your right hand. And then if you do have hold of it, reground your right shoulder. And if it's not reachable, it's okay. You can just bend the knee anyway and keep the right arm open on the floor. Now bring your attention to your right outer hip as we stay in this twist a little longer. Can you very slightly tilt your right outer hip forward towards the front edge of your mat, causing traction to stretch your lower spine? 2 more deep breaths. Now, can you create that soft whispering sound, but just breathe through your nose? So mouth closed, sustaining the breath equally in and out through the nose, a soft whispering sound. Ujjayi Pranayama. Now, if you do have hold of your left foot, let go of it, extend your left leg to the floor, roll onto your back again, and we're going to go right to the other side, straightening the right leg on the ground. Bend your left knee into your chest. Scoot your hips about 3 inches closer to the left edge of your mat. And then straighten your left leg so it's just vertical. We're not bringing it towards the face. And now if your right hand is not able to reach to the outside of your left lower calf or your outer ankle or foot, then you might want to grab the strap, loop it around the ball of your left foot instead, and hold the strap with your right hand. Open your left arm flat on the floor, ground the shoulder and look past it. Then sickle your left foot, turning from the ankle. Sole of your left foot facing right wall, begin to twist slowly. Now breathing just through the nose, equal length inhale with exhale. Feeling your breath glide past the back of your throat and hearing your breath create a soft whispering sound. Now as we continue to twist here, bend your right knee and let your right heel slide as close as it can towards your glutes. With your left hand, reach for the top of your right foot. If it's not reachable, just place your left arm back where it was and just continue to bend your right knee. If you have your foot, reground your left shoulder. Now bring your attention to your left outer hip. Tilt it slightly towards the front edge of your mat, causing more space along your lower back. Feel your chest broaden as you ground your two shoulders. Perhaps even looking over your left shoulder, still stretching. Let's take one more full breath here. Then rolling back to center. Bend your two knees into your chest. Rock gently side to side, massaging your sacrum on the ground, or even rock forward and back if you like, massaging up and down your spine. You could do that a few times and perhaps gently kick the legs overhead. And then let's all eventually come on up to sit. Sitting up tall, grounding your sitting bones, lifting your spine up, rolling your shoulders, and just loosen. And then as you begin to lift from base of your spine through crown, allow your chin to parallel the ground and set your palms to meet at your heart. Perhaps dedicating your practice or setting your intention. Other sort of forces, let's connect through sound, chant, breath. Your nose. Exhale through your nose. Back to Ujjayi breath. From here, come down to hands and knees, all fours. And we'll give the inner wrist a stretch as we are practicing cat-cow pose. So turn out your hands, whatever degree is comfortable. Fingertips facing outer edges of your mat or rear edge of your mat. Now with your wrists generally right under your shoulders, step your knees slightly behind your hips so your torso has a little more space to move around. Then as you breathe in, glide your spine forward, chest through the arms, roll your shoulders back and down and look up, cow pose. As you breathe out, contract your belly, dropping your skull. Tuck your tailbone under into cat pose. Several more times to the pace of your breath. Inhale the chest forward, broaden and lift it. Exhale, the belly lifts towards the spine. Tailbone and head drop. Keep going. And then switch up your hands. Turn your index fingers to face forward so they're parallel to each other. Thumbs wide and flat, rooting down especially at the base of each index finger and thumb, the inner wrists. It feels like your inner forearms are rotating towards the ground and your rear wall. Now do the opposite with your upper arms. Externally rotate them so the triceps rotate towards the ground and rear wall. It's like this wringing out of the forearms and the upper arms. And then tuck your toes, separate your feet hips width, lift your hips high, keep that wringing energy through the forearms and upper arms, downward facing dog. And you might like to take a few breaths to pedal your feet out, to swivel your hips left and right, or to softly move your skull and release any rigidity in the neck. Feel your fingers as though they're thirsty roots of a tree. You're rooting down through the inner wrist, but also spreading your weight through each fingertip so that the very center of the palms feels slightly buoyant, slightly lifted. And then as you parallel your feet, steady your gaze onto the ground so your ears are just in between your upper arms as you're lifting your shoulder blades to spread across your back ribs. With steady eyes, steady breath. Feel free to bend your knees any amount, especially in the beginning. We're still warming up the hamstrings to truly find length in the front and back of your spine. A few more breaths here in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Feel your sitting bones rising and drawing back towards your rear wall. Feel your heels magnetizing towards the core of the earth. Belly firm, chest broad. On your next inhale, glide forward into the top of a push-up, plank pose. We're going to pause here for a few breaths, and if you need more support, just set your knees on the ground. Now with your shoulders stacked right above your wrists, can you rebound your own weight off the floor to your palms? Create a little more space in your shoulder joints. Look about a foot ahead of your hands on the floor and lengthen your neck. Keep spiraling your triceps towards the rear wall. Shoulder blades spread onto your back ribs. Navel lifting towards your back body. Then set your knees down directly under your hips and tuck your right toes behind you, straighten your right leg on the floor. So now, can you feel your inner right heel? Press it towards your rear wall, lifting your navel. Spread your weight to your right fingertips and begin to lift your left arm forward like you're about to shake someone's hand in front of you. Let your upper arm rise to the level of your left ear as you draw your left shoulder bone back into its socket. Deep breaths. Then begin to lift your right foot off the floor. Lift the belly a little more. Find some buoyancy through the center line of your body. Now you could stay here a few more breaths or add some movement in which you take a deep breath in and lengthen, reach a little further. Then exhale, lift your navel and bend left elbow, right knee towards each other. Maybe they touch. Inhale, straighten it out again. Exhale, contract the belly, bend elbow and knee towards touching. One more time, inhale, reach. Exhale, contract and bend. This time, inhale, reach. Set your left hand on the ground. Step your right foot just inside of your right hand. Come into a kneeling lunge. Take a deep breath and roll your shoulders back and down. Find a little bit of cow pose, lifting your chest and gaze. Tuck your left toes, and as you exhale, begin to straighten both legs. You might want to have blocks under your hands here if the floor starts to feel too far away. Scissoring right hip back, bow towards the inside of right leg. Let's try that 3 more times. Inhale, bend both knees, lower the back knee, and coil your chest up. Exhale, scissor your right hip back, straightening both legs, fold. Inhale, bend both knees, coil your chest up. Exhale, scissor the legs and straighten them to fold. This time, bend your right knee. Keep your left leg straight. You're in a high lunge. Bring the energy into your legs as if you're dragging them towards each other. Can you feel a leveling in height of both outer hips? Draw your navel towards your back. Press your right hand onto the very top of your right thigh and firm your inner left heel towards your rear wall. Take a deep breath in, stretch your spine forward through the crown of your head, and then exhale, turn your chest to face your right wall little by little, breath by breath. Raise your right arm towards the sky, a spinal twist. Finding one focal point for your eyes, maybe past your right thumb, maybe towards your right wall. Let's take 3 more breaths. Feel the squaring of your hips. Then look down at your right foot. Set your 2 hands on the earth, back to downward facing dog. Let's take a few breaths here, letting the body remain still. Triceps spiraling towards the floor, thumb and index fingers rooting down. On your next inhale, glide forward again to plank pose. Option to lower your knees. Pause and breathe here. This time, can you focus on the center line of your body, from the top of your head, your crown, down through the center of your nose, down through the center of your throat, your navel, the center of your pelvis, your inseams of your legs, your inner heels. Can you lengthen through your midline for 1 more breath? And set your knees down right under your hips. Tuck your left toes behind you, straightening the left leg. Press your inner left heel towards your rear wall. Lift your belly towards your back body and broaden your chest forward. Spread your weight to your left hand and raise your right arm forward like you're about to shake someone's hand. Upper arm alongside your ear. Gaze is just on the ground ahead. Then begin to lift your inner left thigh so left foot comes off the floor. Get long, lift through the belly. Stay here for a few breaths or add some movements in which you inhale, lengthen, reach a little further. Then exhale, contract your belly, bend right elbow, left knee towards touching. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, contract to your center, elbow and knee towards touching. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bend and contract. Last cycle, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bend and contract. Then inhale, lengthen. Set your right palm down and step your left foot forward just inside of your left hand. Coming into a kneeling lunge. Now grab your blocks if you're going to use them for this next movement. Fingertips on blocks or the floor. Inhale, coil your chest up, look up. Tuck your right toes. Exhale, straighten both legs, scissoring left hip back. Extend your chest forward as you bow. 3 more rounds. Inhale, bend both knees. Lower your back knee and coil your chest up. Exhale, straighten both legs, scissoring left hip back, fold in. Inhale, bend, chest up. Exhale, scissors, straighten and bow. Last round, inhale, bend, chest up. Exhale, scissors, straighten and bow. This time, come into a high lunge, back knees off the floor. Firm your inner right heel towards your rear wall, leveling the height of your hips. Keep your right hand down. Press your left hand on the very top of your left thigh. Then draw your navel towards your spine and take a deep breath. Stretch your spine to trace the midline of your mat. Draw your shoulders down your back. Exhaling, turn your chest incrementally to face your left wall. Breath by breath. Raise your left arm towards the sky. Find a focal point for your gaze for 3 more breaths, perhaps towards your left thumb or straight ahead at your left wall. Hips leveled, long spine, and look down at your left foot. Set your 2 palms on the earth, back to downward facing dog. Let's take a few breaths. Now remember that counter spiraling action of triceps rotating towards the ground and inner forearms rotating towards the ground. Well, there's something similar happening in the legs in downward dog. Think of your inner thighs spiraling slightly towards your rear wall. That helps to broaden your sacrum. But your outer ankles hugging each other without actually moving. It's an isometric movement. Energy of outer ankles hugging a block between your legs. 2 more breaths. Bend your knees, look past your hands. At the end of your exhale, walk or lightly float to the front of your mat. With feet hips width apart, parallel. Any bend in the knees if needed. Press your fingertips on the ground or blocks ahead, maybe your shins. And inhale, draw your chest through your upper arms, belly firming in as you lengthen forward. Exhale, fold from your hips. Firm down to your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms apart, rising with a flat back. Palms meet overhead, look up. Exhale, trace your thumbs down the midline of your body. Arms by your sides, mountain pose. Half sun salutation. Inhale, root down through your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms high, look up. Hinge from your hips, feel that flat back as you're folding. You can bend your knees any amount. Press with your fingertip. And inhale, draw your heart forward. Peel your shoulder blades down your back. Exhale, fold a little deeper. Get rooted to your feet. Now rise. Navel drawing in, heart floating up. Palms touch. Exhale, trace your midline, arms by your sides. Now standing in Tadasana with your palms facing forward, can you really feel your weight pressing into the earth? Spread your toes. Spread your weight through the inner and outer edges of your feet. And can you feel that rebound effect, just like your hands were pressing down in plank? As you press downward to your feet, you energize your legs. You feel lift up to your spine, the midline of your body. Keep that action and inhale, raise your arms, interlace your fingers, and flip your palms inside out. Let's take a few breaths here, getting taller and longer with each breath. As you're pressing the heels of your palms towards the ceiling, draw your shoulder blades down your back. As you're pressing the 4 corners of each foot into the earth, float the crown of your head higher. Can you seal in your front ribs and anchor down your tailbone towards your inner heels? 2 more breaths. Can you feel your waistline getting longer, or the sides of your waist getting longer? Another inhale. And exhale, side bend to your right. A few breaths here. Root down your left foot a little more. Lengthen your spine from your pelvis. Exhale, side bend even further, pressing the heels of your palms towards your right wall. Maintaining the natural length of your neck. You might even gently stretch your neck by looking down towards your right armpit slowly, and then looking up towards your left. Couple of times. Keep drawing your navel in here. Let the navel get a little more active as you inhale, rise. Switch the interlacing of your thumb and index finger on top. Press the heels of your palms towards the sky. Draw your shoulder blades down your back ribs. Root down through the four corners of each foot. Lift up through the midline and your crown. Hug in your front ribs. Get a little taller as you breathe in. Exhale, side bend to your left. Root down to your right foot and inhale, lengthen your spine a little more. Exhale, side bend even further, pressing heels of your palms towards left wall. Direct your tailbone down right between your inner heels. Engaging the lower abdomen. Inhale, rise up, look up. Exhale, open your arms and bow forward. Press with your fingertips. Inhale, lengthen your spine, shoulders down your back. Step to plank or float into chaturanga. Let's take it through a vinyasa. Lower all the way down if you want to come into cobra. Otherwise, from chaturanga, flip your toes. Upward facing dog. As you hollow your belly on an exhale, use that to toe your hips up to downward facing dog. Let's pause here for 3 breaths. Bending your knees, look ahead of your hands. Bottom of your exhale, lightly land at the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold in. Root down to your feet, strong belly. Inhale, rise, feeling of a flat back. Gaze at your palms touching. Exhale, draw your hands down your midline. Tadasana. One more. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway up, step or float back. Take it all the way through your vinyasa, as slow as you're breathing. Let's meet for a few breaths in Adho Mukha Svanasana, or downward facing dog. Now be aware of your midline again and think of hugging in towards it from the left and right sides of your body. Level out your hips and lift from the inseam of your right leg. As you inhale, raise your right foot behind you, flexing it. Exhale, round forward, bend your right knee towards your nose, contract your belly to very quietly land your right foot behind your right wrist. A shorter stance, send your left heel to the ground. You might even step it a few inches forward for pyramid pose. Now, you may want to have blocks on either side of your right ankle here. Scissor your right hip back. You can use your right thumb, plug it into the outer crease of your right hip. And you might even use a block to play with balancing it onto the lowest part of your lower back to feel that your 2 hips are leveled. As you lift your spine halfway, draw your navel in. Now the left hand can remain on a block or the ground right under your left shoulder as we prepare to twist, or you could cross your left hand to the right side of your right foot or ankle on the floor of the block. Turning your chest, keep your hips leveled. Raise your right arm towards the sky, palm facing right wall. Journeying through revolved triangle pose, or Parita Trikonasana. Can you feel energy through your legs, really grounded, toes like thirsty roots of a tree, spreading the weight throughout each foot. Front muscles of your thighs engaged, outer hips hugging your midline. 2 more breaths. Now, if you have a block on your lower back, you can take it off with your right hand, set it down, and let's fold in. Inhale, chest forward. Exhale, folds. If your right hamstring is Much warmer right now, you could lift the ball of your right foot, flex your foot, and without moving your foot, pretend as if you're dragging your heel towards the rear of the mat. So it causes your right femur, thigh bone, to plug a little deeper into the hip socket. Extend your chest forward. 2 more breaths in pyramid pose. Set your right sole entirely on the floor. Inhale, rise halfway, look forward, step back to downward facing dog. Just 1 breath here for the sake of time. So feel your midline of your body. Hug your outer hips towards it. Keep them balanced. Lifting from the inseam of your leg. Inhale, flex your left foot off the ground behind you. Exhale, round forward through plank, bending knee towards nose. Very quietly land your left foot behind your left wrist. Spin your right heel to the ground so your feet are about hips width apart. And your 2 hips are evenly facing forward with both legs straight, both feet entirely on the floor. Feel free to use a block here to balance across the lowest portion of your lower back as we prepare for the twist. Now, legs strongly rooted, lift your spine halfway up. You could even use your left thumb and plug into the crease of your left outer hip as you rotate your chest to begin facing your left wall. Each inhale, grounded through your legs and hips, elongate your spine to trace the midline of your mat. Each exhale, as the belly draws in, rotate your chest a little further into the twist, raising your left arm. Parita Trikonasana, revolved triangle pose. One more deep breath. Now you can grab the block if it's on your lower back as you lower your left hand, framing your left ankle with your 2 hands. Lift your chest, perhaps lift the ball of your left foot, flexing the toes, and let's fold into pyramid pose or Parsvottanasana. One more full breath. Set the sole of your left foot down. Inhale, rise halfway. This time, exhale, step your right foot to meet the left. Let your feet come to touch at the top of your mat. Bend your knees together to touch. Sink your weight towards your heels. Let's take a few breaths in Utkatasana, chair pose. With arms rising forward and up, just find the height to lift your arms where your shoulders can remain down, away from your neck. Let your shin bones glide back enough so that if you were to peek down, you could see your toes. Then let your belly lift towards your back body while you seal inward your front ribs. Anchor your tailbone closer to the ground as we take 2 more breaths in chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, draw your heart forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Either step or float into a chaturanga, a vinyasa, or take a few cat-cows. Let's meet in downward facing dog. Feel again your midline as you hug it with your outer hips. Try to keep your hips balanced. Lift from the inseam of your leg. Inhale, flex your right foot off the ground behind you. Keep your shoulders balanced just like your hips, and exhale, cross your right knee to tap your left outer upper arm, spiraling into a twist in plank. Inhale, raise your right leg back. Exhale, tap your right outer upper arm as you shift into plank. Inhale your right leg back. Exhale, bend knee towards nose. Step the right foot right between your hands, spin the back heel down for side angle pose. So here, place your right arm inside to the left side of your right leg. Bend your right knee to stack just over your right heel. Wrap your right outer hip underneath your body. So know that you can place your right hand on a block or whatever platform or height it needs to be, so you're not compressing your right side body. You can help to lengthen it by tacking the crease of your right hip back towards your left outer heel. As you press your left outer heel into the floor, raise your left arm, spiral your left tricep towards your left wall, and sweep your left arm towards your front wall overhead. Now add spiraling your chest towards the sky. Shoulder blades down your back. A few more breaths. In Uttita Parshvakonasana, side angle pose. So use your right arm to nudge your inner right thigh open. But press back into that arm with your inner right thigh to feel your right outer hip and glute activate. Now, from down through both feet, inhale, rise into Warrior Two. Flip your right palm to face up and reverse it into Peaceful Warrior. Option to land your left hand on your left leg or to wrap your left arm behind your back. Maybe catching hold of the top of your right thigh with your left hand. Breathe into your right side body. 2 more breaths. Bending your right knee towards your right pinky toe. Take another breath in. Exhale, windmill your hands to plank. Optional vinyasa, optional child's pose, and anything in between. Downward facing dog. Picture the midline of your body. Hug your outer hips towards it. Lift from the inseam of your left leg. Inhale, left foot back flexed. Keep your shoulders balanced. Exhale, cross left knee to tap right tricep, twisting in plank. Inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, tap left knee to left tricep in plank. Inhale, raise your left leg. Through center, exhale, bend left knee towards your nose. Stepping left foot between your hands. Spin right heel down. Bending left knee just over the heel, bring your left arm inside of your left leg. Feel free to use a block here under your hand. So as you're wrapping your left glute underneath your body, press left arm, left leg against each other. Root down through the outside edge of your right foot and press the crease of your left hip back towards your right outer heel, lengthening your left side of your torso. As you raise your right arm, spiral your right tricep, outer upper arm to face your right wall, then reach your right arm overhead towards your front wall, turning your chest towards the sky. Soften your shoulder blades, down your back. Let's take a few more breaths in Parshvakonasana. Can you feel how the rootedness of your legs, the engagement of the muscles hugging the bones, enables expansion and lift of your upper body? Use that to inhale, rise into Warrior Two. Keep the same bend in your front knee. Flip your left palm to face up and sideways bend towards your rear wall. Peaceful Warrior. Option to land your right hand on your right leg or to wrap your right arm behind, maybe catching hold of the top of your left thigh. Breathe into your left side body. Feel your left kneecap pointing towards your left pinky toe. One more breath here. Exhale, cartwheel your hands to plank. Optional to flow into a vinyasa or a cat-cow or rest. Let's meet in downward dog. Few breaths. From downward facing dog, you want to grab your blocks and use them as platforms for your hand here. If you ever use them for warrior 3, walk your hands back about a foot in front of your toes. Then inhale, lift halfway, draw your shoulder blades down your back, lift from the inseam of your right leg, and extend your right leg parallel to the ground, flexing your right foot. You are in modified warrior 3. Feel the leveling of your 2 hips as you hug your midline with them. Lift your navel and draw your chest through your upper arms, sliding your shoulder blades down your back. With deep breaths, walk your right hand about 1 foot in front of your left big toe. Press back towards your rear wall through your inner right heel and reach forward through your crown. Feel the length of your midline as you raise your left arm and spiral your chest to face your left wall. Revolved half moon pose, or Parita Ardha Chandrasana. Can you feel the rootedness of both legs, even the lifted leg? You give it the feeling as though it's pressing into your back wall. Now wide across your arms, broaden your wingspan with one more inhale. Look down in front of you. Exhale your left hand down, your right foot down beside the left hip distance. Root down to your feet. Inhale, circle your arms to rise all the way up. Palms touch overhead. Exhale, trace your thumbs down your midline, entering mountain pose. Take a couple of deep breaths, standing tall and grounded. Can you feel the length of your midline here? Inhale, sweep your arms over, gaze up, hinge from your hips as you exhale. Crawl your fingertips forward on blocks or the floor, rising halfway up. And let's stay here. Broaden your chest forward, lift your navel towards your spine, draw your shoulder blades down your back, and lifting from the inseam of your left leg, flex your left foot behind you, and really imagine as though you're pressing into your rear wall, especially with the inner edge of your left heel. Tack your right hip back and feel the leveling of your 2 hips. With steady eyes, steady breath, walk your left hand 1 foot in front of your right big toe. Spiraling your chest to face your right wall each breath. Sweep your right arm towards the sky and feel the reach of your right fingertips towards the sky as you open your chest. Parita Ardha Chandrasana, revolved half moon pose. Get long to your midline, get broad through your wingspan, and feel your center active, stable, contained. 2 more breaths. Look down in front of your feet. Set your right hand down. Set your left foot next to the right. And this time, let's separate your feet wider than hips distance, finding a squat of your choice. Now you can turn out your legs from your hips. Make sure that your knees are turned out the same degree as your middle toes. So you're rotating from your hip sockets. Now you could sit on a couple of blocks, make them like a stool or 1 block. You could sit all the way on the floor and step your feet even wider apart. Or if it feels okay to hover your pelvis, you can take Malasana this way. And then with your arms, either helping to splay open your inner thighs, lift your spine, lengthen it up and down as you relax your shoulders, deepening your breath again. You might be able to bring your palms to prayer position, thumbs meeting your sternum. Can you visualize a warm light emanating from the center of your chest? That's the heart energy center region. And that light has a lifting energy. So it's lifting literally your chest. It allows your shoulders to melt downward, invites fuller breaths through that lift of your chest cavity. And through that lift of your heart center, notice how your tailbone begins to descend and offer length into your lower spine. Can you imagine restacking each vertebra of your spine from the bottom up as though each vertebra was a block or Legos? Couple more deep breaths. And let's lower all the way down to your pelvis, setting up for hip opener. Now you can choose, as you're crossing your right shin forward or on top of your left shin, to sit in a cross-legged position. You might even sit on a folded blanket or pillow. If it's available for you, you could also stack your ankles and your knees so that your shins are right on top of each other. If you're doing that, flex your feet in a way that your big toe mounds are pressing towards your side walls. You can't see the soles of your feet. Just to protect your knees. You might even move the flesh aside from your glutes and really plug sitting earth, and then lift up to your, open your throat. Whether you choose to stay upright or begin to fold forward, walking your hands forward. Let's take another few breaths. Two more breaths here. If you're bowing, begin to float your chest up. Walk your hands closer towards you as you inhale to rise. Crossing your legs. If you've been flexing your feet, do the opposite. Point your toes or roll out your ankles. Maybe even shake out your legs. Then switch the cross of your leg on top or forward. Whether you're in Hatha, which is easy pose, or double pigeon, in which you stack your ankles and knees and flex your feet. You might like to move the flesh aside from your glutes, ground your sitting bones, and breathe length through your spine. Perhaps folding forward as you breathe out. So can you feel those counter forces still at work even if you're bowing? The rooting downward to your pelvis, your sitting bones, and the extension forward and up through the center of your chest. One more deep breath. And lifting from your chest. If you're bowing, walk your hands towards you as you inhale. Uncross your legs, give them any movement or a counter action for your feet. Maybe your wrists, maybe your arms, maybe your neck, whatever needs to move before we settle down in complete stillness. So let's practice Nadi Shodhana before we come down rest for Shavasana. Please find a comfortable way to sit for this breathing practice. Alternate nostril breathing. Set your hand on your lap. You may like and first finger to touch to help focus. And with your right hand, stick out your thumb, pinky, and ring finger. Sitting up tall and relaxed. Close your eyes. Take a breath in. Close your lips. Exhale gently and sustain to your nose. Then hold your breath out. With your right thumb, cover your right nostril closed. Inhale slowly through your left. Hold your breath in. Cover your left nostril closed with 2 fingers. Exhale to right. Hold it out. Inhale to right. Hold. Cover right with thumb. Exhale to left. Hold. Cover left with 2 fingers. Inhale to right. Hold. Cover right. And continue for a few more cycles. The next time you exhale through left nostril, let that be the end. Holding the breath out after. Sitting with natural breath, observing. Observing your body. Observing your mind and emotions. Observing your own energetic state. Continuing that observing, I invite you to find a comfortable position of rest for a few minutes in Shavasana. Lying down, legs or blanket over you, eyes closed. Another quote on tapas by Chip Harntraft. Every time a distracting impulse is noted but not obeyed, the body-mind sees through it and beyond it, gaining energy and inching closer to discriminating awareness. If you'd like to join me in the guided about 10 minutes of meditation, please begin to move your body gently, easing it out of Shavasana and carefully into a comfortable, alert seat. This meditation is inspired by Sharon Salzberg, and it's about directly experiencing our changing emotions. Sharon says that working with emotions in our meditation practice sharpens our ability to recognize a feeling just as it begins, not 15 consequential actions later. We can then go on to develop a more balanced relationship with it, neither letting it overwhelm us so we lash out rashly, nor ignoring it because we're afraid or ashamed of it. Life is like an ever-shifting kaleidoscope. A slight change and all patterns and configurations alter. Let's practice tapas, or discipline, by letting go of unnecessary habits of mind, like adding on stories to our emotions. Let's be in the direct experience of just as they come. As you're sitting here, allow your body to feel grounded, to feel uplifted. Softening your attention onto your breath as it naturally flows in and out. Just feeling its subtle presence. I invite you to bring up a joyous feeling, perhaps a memory, a plan, an encounter, and feel the emotion within that joyous moment. A sense of delight, gratitude, wonder. See where you feel it in your body. What does it feel like? And how is it changing? Can you experience it fully in the present moment without leaning forward into the future? Like, I've got to get some more, or I can't let it go away. If you see those kinds of reactions in your mind, settle back. Come back into your body. Feel the different sensations being born of that emotion in this moment. And now I invite you to bring up a difficult emotion, let's say anger. In the same way, feel it in your body. The circumstances, the provocation, the plan for revenge don't really matter. In this meditation, we're focused on the feeling itself. So apart from the story, what does anger feel like in your body, or whatever difficult emotion you chose? What does it feel like as a mood? It's not just one thing. It may be moments of sadness, moments of fear, moments of frustration, moments of helplessness. Just watch them arise and pass away to make up this emotion we call, for example, anger. Notice that neither the joyful state nor the angry state is permanent, unchanging. You may find your attention going back to a story about it, but first, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do that. If you can recognize that, just let go of it. Come back to your direct experience in the moment. What am I feeling right now? What does this feel like? What's happening? What's its nature? Meditation is never one thing. You'll experience moments of peace, moments of sadness, moments of joy, moments of anger, moments of sleepiness. The terrain changes constantly. Just as we practice being in direct experience with changing emotion, we can notice it, name it, observe it, test it, and dispel it using the skills we learn here in this meditation practice. We can continue this in our everyday being with our minds and whatever arises. It takes discipline. It takes tapas. As you allow your breath to gently deepen, feeling a little more movement perhaps in your physical body, direct your next inhalation at the center of your chest, allowing it to softly rise. And join your palms to meet there, your thumbs touching your sternum. Perhaps you dedicate the benefits you enjoy from your practice to someone or a group of people. Remembering that the inner work that we do for ourselves is the work that we also share. Let's close with one Om. Take a deep breath. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace,